An ordinary day at Hogwarts, Eliza woke to someone shaking her shoulder rather insistently. "Get up. We'll be late for potions," hissed her roommate Holly, already fully dressed in her Ravenclaw robes. Eliza groaned and dragged herself from beneath the warm covers. Beyond the circular window of Ravenclaw Tower, dawn was only just breaking, painting the lake in shades of silvery pink. Voices drifted up from somewhere below. The castle was waking. Having washed hastily and pulled on her uniform, the girls hurried down the spiral staircase. The great hall was already filling with students, sleepily munching toast and washing it down with pumpkin juice. Eliza managed to snatch a couple of jam-filled rolls before she and Holly set off for the dungeons. Professor Slughorn was already arranging cauldrons when they entered the classroom. The smell of herbs and something rather sharp hung in the air. "Ah, Miss Thornton, Miss Wakefield, just in time," he boomed, rubbing his hands together. "Today we shall be brewing a calming draught. Who can remind me of the principal ingredients?" Eliza's hand shot into the air simultaneously with 3 other Ravenclaws. Typical. The next 2 hours passed in careful mincing of moonstone and cautious stirring clockwise precisely 7 times. The cauldron belonging to a neighboring Slytherin very nearly exploded twice, causing the entire class to hold its breath. But by the end of the lesson, Eliza's potion had turned the correct shade of turquoise, and Slughorn awarded Ravenclaw 10 points. After potions came transfiguration. Professor McGonagall, stern as ever, had them turning mice into goblets. Eliza's came out nearly perfect crystal, save for a small tail still attached to the stem. "Better, Miss Thornton, but there is still room for improvement," the professor remarked, and Eliza smiled proudly. Praise from McGonagall was not easily won. By lunch, she was ravenous. The great hall smelled of roasted meat and onion soup. Eliza settled down beside her friends at the Ravenclaw table. "Have you heard the news?" whispered her friend Penelope excitedly. "Hagrid's brought some new creatures for care of magical creatures. They say they glow in the dark." "Let's hope they're not as bitey as those flizzards last month," muttered their friend Marcus, rubbing a healed scratch on his arm. After lunch, they had a free period. Eliza made for the library. She needed to finish her history of magic essay on the goblin rebellions. Madame Pince, as always, kept a beady eye on the silence, shushing at every rustle. Eliza settled at her favorite table by the window overlooking the courtyard. Several third years were practicing levitation charms, making pebbles float through the air. Their laughter and shouts drifted through the open window. She immersed herself in a dusty volume of Goblin Wars of the 18th century, making notes on parchment. Time in the library always flew by. That evening, after supper, the Ravenclaw common room was loud and lively. Someone was playing wizard's chess by the fire, others were debating magical theory, and a group of 5th years were frantically preparing for their OWLS. Eliza curled up in an armchair with a book, watching the flames cast dancing shadows on the walls, which were decorated with portraits of distinguished Ravenclaws of old. Beyond the window, night had fallen, and stars were appearing one by one above the towers of Hogwarts. "Don't stay up too late," yawned Holly, heading for the dormitory. "We've got defense against the dark arts first thing tomorrow." Eliza nodded, but remained by the fire for another 20 minutes, finishing her hot chocolate and her chapter. Hogwarts at night was particularly magical, quiet, mysterious, full of whispers and glimmers of enchantment. When she finally climbed to the dormitory, the castle was already asleep. Only the portraits on the wall snored softly in their frames, and somewhere in the distance came the hooting of an owl. Tomorrow would bring another day full of lessons, discoveries, and small adventures. But this was Hogwarts, and here every day was special. Eliza smiled as she climbed into bed and almost at once drifted off to sleep, dreaming of levitating textbooks and potions in every color of the rainbow.